Voice. Music, talk, and nothing but business with your hosts, Chris Nanolini and Mick Michaels. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cosmick Voice. This is Season 3, Episode 20. I am here with my co-host, Chris Nanolini.
What's up, everybody?
And I am Mick Michaels. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Chris, welcome back yourself. This is our Season 3 finale episode. How you doing, buddy?
I know, man. I know. It's crazy, bro. It's crazy that we are ending our third season. It's crazy.
It's crazy. It's just crazy that we're doing this for 3 seasons. Number one.
Well, that too.
That we actually got this going, pulled this out of our hat, made it work. That's, to me, still baffling at times, especially because I know behind the scenes how often it took us to just get a sound between each other.
Well, I think it helps, too, because you have the two of us who like to talk music, right? Like, you and I both like to talk shop, whether it's about a specific artist or if we, like the industry. So it's easy for us to do the show. It's all the other stuff.
Yeah.
It's all the other stuff outside of it that is.
The show is like just us talking to each other like we always have for the past 30-some years.
That is correct.
Yeah,
yes,
we
that
just
is correct.
So, like when we're at a show and Chris and I are either attending a show or playing a show together, we're usually off in a corner talking about the same exact thing. Same exact thing.
That is so true.
And so we decided, hey, why don't we just record it, edit it down, and just see if anybody likes it. And like Chris mentioned in our last episode, we actually made it to someone's top 5 favorite podcasts.
We did.
We were number 5,
yes.
but listen, I'll take it. I'll take it,
bro. Listen, if we were in the top 10, I'll take it, but top 5 is even better.
Yeah, even better. Somebody actually listens. So that's awesome. So a big thank you to everyone that does listen. We really do appreciate you coming back each week and each episode, each season. This is just really cool. So thank you very much. It really is an ultimate thing. So we really do appreciate that. That being said, being that this is our season finale show, last episode of season 3, what we've decided to do is we're going to do a Q&A back and forth between the two of us. Chris is going to have some questions for me. I have no idea what they are. I'm going to have some questions for Chris. He has no idea what they are. I know he's already shaking in his boots. I can see it. He's got the quiver in the beard, folks. Quiver in the beard. So we're going to see how this goes. We're going to have a good time with it, see if we can make a show out of it. Here we go. Chris, you start off, buddy. You go ahead.
All right. So I want to give our listeners just a bit of a background if they don't know or if they don't really know the extent, because it's actually a 2-parter question, but it is the same question. So for those of you who may not know, Mick and I have known each other for a very long time, since high school. And a very long time. Did I say that already?
Oh, yeah.
And we have spent many a time together through those years. And back in the day, in our younger days, we used to live in the same town, not far from each other, in Norristown, Pennsylvania. Back then, you used to have a band called Seeker.
Yes.
And which you guys can look up on Facebook. And the album is still available, right, Mick?
Yeah, we actually got lucky. 2019, it re-released on Heaven and Hell Records. They wanted to re-release our 1989 or 90 EP, so it's kind of an exciting thing. Yes.
Okay, awesome. So back in the day, you guys used to have I guess it was more like your garage. You guys had built this big stage, and you had lights, and every weekend or every Friday night, whatever it was, and we'd all come down and we'd all hang out at the rehearsal spot. So here's my question.
Oh boy.
What is your most memorable gig pre Corners of Sanctuary? And what is your most memorable gig with Corners of Sanctuary?
I think the most memorable gig pre Corners of Sanctuary goes back to Seeker. I remember when after the band had formed, and we went into heavy writing and rehearsal and stuff like that, we put together a 2-night showcase. The first, debuting the band. because the band was of mixed age, we had older guys in the band, and then there were 3 of us that were still teenagers. So it made it hard at times, even though we did it anyway, to play places and to do things as time went along. But we looked a little older, so it kind of helped out. And as you find out in the business, back then nobody cared about anything. They just were looking to pack the venue. Anyway, I remember the first showcase that we did to the above 21 crowd. And I can't even tell you how we played. I don't remember how we played. But I remember the place was packed. And that's, you could sell some tickets and whatever. And everybody was loving it. I just remember then, we were escorted backstage again. And we were just like, there was just this euphoria of being a 15-year-old kid playing. At that point in time, and like I've said this before, when I was that age, I didn't think I wasn't going to make it. And at that moment, I thought that I made it.
Yeah.
Right? Because I didn't know the difference. I didn't have the sense to know the difference. It was everything was in the moment type of thing. Unfortunately, I missed some of that being a middle-aged guy. Because there was an innocence to it. There was that deer in the headlights type of thing, and you were able to really soak it in and super enjoy it. So I remember that as probably the feeling. Like I told you, I couldn't remember the gig at all. I do remember little bits and pieces of it. I even remember we had one of those old lights that you used to put behind the silver Christmas trees in the late 60s, early 70s that would change colors. You know what I'm talking about? It rotated around.
I remember
we had that behind the drum set, and it created this thing. I don't know. We didn't have a fog machine. We could have had some kind of we had something. I don't know if it was dry ice or it could have been spackle, and that we were just, probably something that OSHA wouldn't have liked. But we had our own special effects, and I just remember all that kind of stuff. But the feeling of the people going crazy, that's what I remember.
I'm sorry. Did you say where the guy? I must have missed it if you did. Did you say where the gig was, or you don't remember where it was?
It was just a hall. We rented a hall because it was a 2-night showcase. And I remember just setting up for it. And we had. I don't even know how we even came about thinking about this stuff, but there was a stage built, and we had gotten all these. They were crates, right? Milk crates, but they were the metal ones. Like, I don't know if people remember that, but they used to have the metal ones. Well, we had, I don't know where, we probably stole them from someplace, but we had so many of them. We built, like, this whole stage thing. The drums were underneath it, and we had lights set in it. Our one guitar player who was pretty much the leader at the time, he had this kind of mind that was able to put that stuff together, and it was kind of, we just all followed along, but it made sense, because we didn't know. And but that's what I remember. That's one of the things I remember most of all.
I can say, looking back now, being older, I remember you guys being bigger than life. Like, I really remember you guys carrying yourself like you were the band. Like, you guys were. I remember watching you guys play, in your garage or yard, and I remember thinking, like, you guys were playing like you owned the world, and that was back then.
Yeah, and that was pure ignorance. There wasn't a cockiness. I tell you, I don't think that, again, I don't think we put it together as that or one way or the other, but there was an ignorance, and ignorant is bliss, right? Especially at that age. And that's, I think we just kind of lived in the moment. We weren't thinking of anything else. And that's one of the things I think I remember. I mean, there's some other shows. I remember playing at Bonnie's Rocks, and we blew the power out by our third song. For some reason, we were playing so loud. We had so much equipment and the amps and stuff that we blew the stage. And like for like a half an hour, there was like everything was in the dark. We were kind of bummed out, but we got to finish our set, which at that point. But it was that was cool and all. But I think for Corners of Sanctuary, there are a number of shows, believe it or not. I mean, for different reasons.
You guys have done some really cool stuff over the years.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't want to, if you start talking about it, it sounds like you're boasting and all, and I'm not, because sometimes I sit back and I'm like, oh my God, how is this possible? Like, because I know who I am, and I'm saying to myself, how is this possible? Like, like either I don't deserve it, you shouldn't be here, that kind of thing. We played in Germany. We played a festival in Germany unknowing what this was going to be. We had some shows booked for us, and we were just kind of like, going, and we got on stage, and the place, it's like the whole town was there, and we were just, it was, and they fed us and all. The following 2 nights later, we played Hanover, and the joint was packed, and people were coming to see us, and we were like, are you sure you're at the right show? We had no expectations when we went to Europe, except that we were going to play in Europe. That was the goal, to play in Europe. So there was no expectations in terms of packing the joint, right? Yeah. And it was just an amazing show. Worst sound we've ever had. Like, the guitar was just nasty sounding. It was just, but I didn't care. It didn't make a difference. It was just like the place was packed and all. But I think the show that stands out the most for us, and I think everyone would say it in this lineup, is when we opened for Udo here in Philly at the Trocadero. We were called, we played on a Saturday, we were called Wednesday, and they said, we need an opening act. There's only going to be one. Do you guys want to do it? I don't even think they finished what they were saying. I was like, yeah, we'll do it. I didn't even contact the band. I said, yeah, we're going to do it. I called everyone afterwards, and they go, okay, we'll let you know by Friday for sure. Okay. Because they weren't sure if they were going to use an opening act. Right. I called up the band and I go, I don't care what you're doing on Saturday. We're opening for Udo. Okay. So Friday at 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern time here, we got the word it's all a go. By the hour later, we had promo out. You know what I mean? And then we had to be there, Saturday afternoon. We got it was a Cinderella story. Because I played the Troc before. It's always been cool, but you're kind of not, it's not a big deal because you're nobody. But we got 2 parking spots. We got free drinks. We got escorted in, which was amazing and then there were people that were on our guest list that were stuck in the crowd. We got to go out with security and a representative and pull those people out of the crowd. It was like, oh my God. And then, we backstage, we got to bump shoulders with Udo. We're watching him backstage. I mean, it was just amazing. We started it was a black start, and I don't mean to keep going on, but it was just amazing. But I'll tell you what, just like Cinderella, the clock didn't have to wait till 12. It was by 11 o'clock you were back to being, it was bye-bye. But it's one of it's basically
the next day you're taking the trash out.
Yeah, taking the trash out. Goodbye. I mean, I wound up getting a ticket that night anyway. So it was like, well, that's the end of it. There you go. You talk about 15 minutes of fame. That was it. And to us, it was just an amazing. I mean, to open up for Udo, a hero of ours. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So that was pretty cool. So. I hope I didn't bore anybody, but that's where it's at. So that was a good question, man. Thank you.
Thanks, man.
All right. So my first question to you is, what do you feel is your greatest musical accomplishment so far?
Oof.
You need it repeated? What do you feel is your greatest musical accomplishment so far? Because I'm sure there's more to come.
You know what, man? I have been on some great records that have, made top 10s of the year, one of them being number 1. I just released a CD that I'm super proud of. But I think the one thing that I think for me is being 51 and still doing it. I think that even though I've done so much in the 30 plus years I've been doing this, I've met some great people. I've got to travel. I've done some amazing shows. I think the one thing that I feel every day is that I'm 51 years old and I'm still doing it, and I have no intention of stopping. I feel like there's a lot more that I have left in the tank. You know what I mean? And so for me, that's my answer. That I'm this age in 2021, and I'm still doing it, and I'm still having a blast. I'm still having a great time, and still able to bang my head harder, just as hard as I was when I was in my 20s. It just hurts more the next day.
I get that.
But so that's my answer.
That's awesome, man. That's cool. And it's that type of attitude that inspires me as well. And so I appreciate that, because listen, you have your ups and downs with this business. And there are days you get up and you go, you know what, this is it. I'm done. And I've joked around with you, and sometimes it hasn't been a joke, that, retirement may be coming. You know what I mean? Like, how often, how much more can you do this? And then, you realize it's such a piece of you. It's such of who you are that without it, what are you going to do? I mean, there's going to be a point someday. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But why do it prematurely if you don't have to?
That's right. I think one of the biggest compliments that I've received, are by old bandmates that just don't do it anymore. If I'm blessed by some good news or a good show or a good review, and sometimes I'll get emails from former bandmates and go, "Man, it is awesome that you're still doing it." And I always think to myself, because a lot of these guys are super talented, and I go, well, yeah, like it's what we wanted to do when we were together, and
right.
It just kind of continued. And that's the biggest compliment when usually an ex-bandmate goes, I can't believe, it's so awesome that you're still doing it.
That's cool. That's good. And I thank you for it. I thank you that you continue doing it. And you give, you could give hope, you give inspiration, you give aspiration to other artists that you can keep doing it. Thanks. You're going to have your ups and downs. It's just like any other thing.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's it, man.
But like we talked about in other episodes, like if you have that passion and it's in your heart, you'll find a way around to do it, right? You may not do it at the same way you did it 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, but you'll find a way to do it in some capacity.
Yep.
So kudos to you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
This is Stephen Piercy from Rat, the Rat Bastard. You're listening to the Cosmick Voice.
So here's my next question to you, Mr. Mick Michaels.
Oh, boy.
And I know this. It may not be hard, but you've written a lot of songs in your career. What is the best song you have ever released and why?
Oh, my God. That's I don't know.
Because you've written a lot of songs in your career, man. A lot.
I have. I've written a lot of songs.
And continue to do so.
And I continue to do so because I'm honing and still learning my craft. Not everything has always been a great thing. There's a lot of different stuff because I experiment with a lot of different things, and I don't, that's a tough question. That's a tough question. Right off the bat, I would want to say that one of the holiday songs could be considered one of the best songs I ever written. And I'll tell you, we release our holiday package every year, and new mixes sometimes happen for some of the songs. So like this year, I was going back over some of the previous originals, and we did a song back in 2016, That Feeling You Know. And I was listening to it back, and I go, "How did I come up with that? Like, where did that come from?" And whether it's the lyric or the melody or some of the arrangements and stuff like that, it's like sometimes when you're in the zone, things happen, and it's not a matter of, oh, I've trained like this, or I'm more skilled than so and so, or I have all this degree or something. Sometimes the moment dictates it. And I allow that to happen. I mean, and it's just amazing feeling. And it's that Zen feeling, Zen moment you get being an artist. And then you spend the rest of the year trying to find it again. Like, where'd it go? I just had it. It was just right here, like my car keys. So I think there's something about that song. And I think there's a few of the Christmas songs. And I'll tell you why. I think because I feel free. I get to do whatever I want to do. And I don't have to keep it into a niche.
Yeah,
right?
I like that.
And it's open to a broader feel, and it's more musical at times. That song actually helped get me to write better material for the band. And from there, Gallopin' Hordes was the next major release that we did in terms of the album. It was definitely a turning point, so it helped me. I mean, because, live set, there's a real basic tune that we do. It's called On the Hunt. It's an older song, but people love it. And I've played it at this stage all over the world, and people dig it. And it's a chant song, and it's real simple. On the hunt. Dug, 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 dug. And it's one of those things that just, hit the chord. Are there other songs that I like in terms of, say, hey, this is an artistic song, there's some really cool stuff? Yeah, and there are those deep cuts that nobody else seems to like the majority of people won't get. But but it helps me get there and do that.
Yeah.
So I would say that the Christmas songs in general give me a little bit more lift in terms of the freedom I'm able to do, which then helps my next sets of writing for the regular material. So I don't know if that answers the question per se.
Yeah, it does.
But, I mean, there's a lot of songs that we do in the set that are like, this is pretty cool. Like I don't get, like if I someone once said to me, you should do this in the set. I said, well, we tried it. Well, why don't you do it anymore? I go, because the crowd didn't react the way that we thought. And we did it a number of times in different crowds, to try it.
Yeah.
Right? And if the crowd doesn't react, it may be a great song, but it's not the song for the live set. Right?
It has to connect,
it
right?
has to connect,
we talked about
right.
that before, like you got to connect,
if it connects with you or just one or two people, I get it, but you can't do that. You have to think of the larger group. So the person said, well, you can't tell me that you don't play songs that you don't like, that you don't play any songs that you don't like. And I said, no, I don't. I go, because I play my own stuff. Number one, I like what I do. And if the song doesn't work live, I don't play it. I mean, there are songs that we just don't play. They're on an album. I think they're solid songs. They work as album songs, but they're not live songs, in my opinion. Right. So it just doesn't work. And I get it. I get it. So, but that's, if I'm doing this, and I know I'm kind of like, going off the tangent here, but like you said before, like if you're doing it, then you got to do it the way you want to do it and the way you're going to enjoy it. Otherwise, why would you do it? Like now, if I was being paid as a hired gun, well, that's a different story. I'm an employee. I'm brought in. Right. You do this, you get this. Oh, I got it. Well, that's my job. That's what a job is. But it's more than a job for me. This is my creation, my band stuff, our music, and we're going to play what we want to play when we want to play it. Yeah. Would I love to do those songs? Yeah. If the crowd went wild, I'd do them. But it didn't work.
Right.
So, good question, man.
Do you think the Christmas song or songs, do you think that you like writing them because it gives you more freedom, or is it because you feel like because you're so connected to the holiday?
I think it's both. I do. I think, and people's quick response is, well, you've shoehorned or you've boxed yourself into a certain writing style. No, that's not true. I don't necessarily. I know what you're. I get it, and there may be some truth in that on some level, but I don't think that's the case. Like if you're writing, like I've talked about it before. I know bands have done it. Like I'm not looking to do a death metal album, then a melodic death metal album, then a thrash metal, then an old school, then a traditional, then a classic. Like I'm not interested in doing those kind of albums. Like maybe there's a gradual progression of the music or something like that, and you're writing to that because you change. Things change, stuff around you. Yep. And when I write albums or even EPs, there's a theme usually that kind of, if you've heard our Blood and Steel this past year, that whole thing, there was a bit of a darker, grittier change to the music, but it was still Corners of Sanctuary. You could pick out elements. This is typical Corners. This is, whatever. But it was presented in a slightly different manner. The beauty about the Christmas songs it's to a much broader audience. And that really, and again, like I'm tapping into that childhood fantasy of like, Santa being for real and how you feel about Christmas when you're 6, 7, 8, 9. You know what I mean? And it's just an amazing time of the year. It really is. And I try to carry that over, and the songs help me to bring that to life, to bring that realism back to the forefront, so to speak.
Right.
And
cool.
I just have a good time with it. That's all. So, yeah, cool, man. Thank you.
Cool.
Okay, my next question. What fear did you have to overcome on a personal or professional level to do what you are doing now? If there was any. But as artists, we all suffer from some level of...
We all have fears.
Yeah.
I think my biggest fear was, am I good enough to do what I'm doing? And I've said this many a times for many years. I've been fortunate enough to surround myself with amazing players. And to me, screaming whatever. I always make that joke. People go, "Oh, you're a singer." I go, No, I'm just screaming into a microphone." I always wonder, are my vocals matching the talent of the guys I surround myself with? Is it good enough? Does it pass? Could they? I always say there's always somebody better than you, right? But the question is, what are my fears? So my fear has always been, am I good enough to be with the guys that I am surrounded by? I think that, a voice, as a guitar player, as a bass player, as a drummer, you're going to have your good days, you're going to have your bad days. With an instrument, it is what it is. But with a voice, you're either bad or you're good. Your bad days are your bad days, and your good days are your good days. And I think that, getting on stage and being a singer, you always worry, did I have enough water? Am I relaxed enough? Am I ready to do this? Is my voice going to be as strong as rehearsal was the other night? And a lot of my fears kind of revolve around my voice, between whether is it going to be good enough for the band, for the songs, for the band, or is it going to hold out live? Am I going to have a dry night? You know what I mean? Anything. And I think that, because your voice is so, it has to be in tune with your body. And then if your body's off, man, and your voice is off, and that's the one thing, because sometimes you can't control your body. Sometimes your body just wants to do something that, your brain and your body sometimes don't match. A lot of times my lips and my brain don't match, but, sometimes it just doesn't, they don't want to work together, and that's hard, because you can't get by. Like, you either have to be on or, it's just not going to sound right. That's always been a fear. My voice has always been my biggest fear.
I can understand that. That's your instrument. So, it's... I think other people that play guitar or bass or drums, they have a similar thing too. Am I going to be on tonight? Can I keep up? I had a rough day, something like that. I go through that sometimes with me. It's like, I don't know, I'm not really on tonight, or, let's hopefully I can get through it. So I understand that completely.
Yeah.
But we work through it, right? As artists, we have to do our best. The old saying, the show must go on. You do your, whatever it is you do.
That's it, man. You're going to have your bad shows. You're going to have your good shows, and you just try to make up for it. If you're going to have a bad night, you just try to figure out how to work around it and get through it and try your best. I definitely don't make excuses, if I have a bad night. We may talk about it as a band later on, but, I don't make excuses. A bad night is a bad night, and it is what it is, and you just hope that the next night's going to be better the next time you're back. And what you don't want to do is have a bad night on a very important night.
Right.
And, you know what I mean?
Oh, I know.
And, but, it is what it is, and you got to forge forward, and you got to hope for the best. And just like genres of music, everybody is going to, everybody has their opinion. My voice isn't for everybody, and that's okay.
I hear you. But you do it nonetheless.
I do. I do, because I love to do it, right?
Yes, sir.
You are listening to The Cosmic Voice with your hosts, Chris Natalini and Mick Michaels.
All right, Mick, here's your next question, buddy. If you could have your fans remember one thing about you, what would that one thing be? What's the one thing you would want them to remember you for?
Oh, I don't know. He never took himself too seriously. I don't know. Maybe he wrote a lot of songs.
You have written a lot of songs.
I got a lot more.
That's listen, man. I always say I will say this until the day I am dead. You, Mick Michaels, and your projects. I say this all the time. Corner Sanctuary. You guys are one of the hardest working bands that I have ever been around. We say it all the time, and that's one thing I will always say about you. You work your ass off. And anything you touch, you work your ass off.
Well,
we joked about it. When we first started this podcast, I'd wake up and be like 6 a.m. You'd be like, "Hey, I have these ideas." And that's the one thing I love about you. Your brain is always on, man. You're always working. But so, what would be the one thing that you would want your fans to remember about you?
Honestly, I guess he did the best he could. And I think there's something to say about that. And the best he could, like, I don't have to be the best. I don't have to be the greatest. That's for other people. That's a different mindset, and it's short-lived, right? But I do try to, the best I can, I try to be as consistent as I can. And some days, sometimes it wanes. It's very difficult, but it helps keep me balanced so that when I do have a bad day or a bad days, I can get myself back on track because I'm just trying to balance out the wheel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want to rock the boat. Maybe that's a cop-out. Maybe it's something, but it helps me stay consistent so that I get to do more of what I like to do and do less of what I don't want to do and don't like to do.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And the last 2 years, like we talked about this before, really taught me that. It's probably more like I want to do less of that other stupid stuff because it's just noise. And sometimes the industry creates extra noise for whatever reason. I don't know if they're creating sleight of hand, they're trying to throw you off the path or just to, because you just try to occupy your time. But this way, hey, he did the best he could with what he had, and I'm content with that because that's a survival tactic. And there's a lot that can be said about that, because when all else fails, you need the guy that knows how to create fire. And, you know what I mean? And keep you from getting rained on.
True. It's true, man. It's true. That's 100%.
So I don't know if I'm that guy, but I'm still working towards that. So yeah, I hope that it helps answer that question.
Yeah, for sure, brother.
Cool.
For sure.
Cool. All right, your next question. If you weren't doing music, what do you think you would have done or would be doing if you weren't doing music?
Wow, brother. I honestly, I don't know, man. Like, this is all I've ever wanted to do. I would probably just be me. Like, I would probably just, have a house, have a wife, have a job. You know what I mean? I don't know. If I wasn't, maybe I would have a family. I don't have kids. I may be a dad. Maybe. If I wasn't doing this, and I say that because, doing this took so much time and so much sacrifice that selfish, maybe, but I didn't feel that because this was such a passion, because this was such a love, that I didn't think that it'd be fair to bring other people into this world and me not be there, because this was such a crazy passion that I have. It's all I've ever wanted to do. It's kind of like why I don't have a dog right now. I just always want, for me, I just always want to go, oh, hey, we're opening for Udo Saturday night. I'm there. You know what I mean? Like, and that's just me. And I don't, I don't judge anybody that, it's just me. It was always better for me just to be able to go, yeah, I could pick up and go, what? You want to do 2-week tour? I'm gone. Bags are packed. Let's do it. So I've always been selfish, I guess you could say. I've just always been selfish in my time because of my passion. So if I wasn't doing this, maybe be a dad. I would definitely probably have a house like I do now and be married for sure. I know that. And I would probably just be an average guy. Just
you still have the beard though, don't you think?
I would probably still have the beard, yeah.
The
because
beard
I
and
would
the cutoffs.
still be into, I would still be into like comics and movies and stuff like that and wrestling. So I'd always want to look like those kind of people and those kind of characters. So I would probably still look the same, but I would probably say that I would just be a normal guy, man. Just, just 9 to 5, which I have now. I just have this music thing in my blood.
I gotcha. All right.
My last question for Mr. Mick Michaels. Mick, we have, through 3 seasons, we have always constantly talked about your love for Christmas and your love for Hallmark movies and your love for baking. And we've talked about music, and everybody knows you do have a family. What is, Mick Michaels, what is one thing that nobody knows about you that you would want people to know? We know you have a wife. We know you have kids. We know your love for Christmas. Like I said, we know you like to cook. You've created the Cosmic universe. We know all that. What is the one thing that we do not know about Mick Michaels that you would like to share? Even if it's a guilty pleasure.
Oh, I don't. Well, I don't have many. I mean, you know, I drink a lot of diet soda here in the green room. Sometimes it's not the best, but you know, it's I can get it on the table quick. You know, I don't know. There are a bunch of different things. I mean, you know, I'm actually a very quiet introvert. I don't socialize. You know, I mean,
that is true.
Those that really, you know me. I keep to myself most of the time. I'm a family person. I mean, I've done this most of my life as well, among some other things. I did take a few years off. One of the other big passions ever since I was a young person, you know, I always wanted to have a family. I lost my father early on as a kid, and having that family of my own was a key component. And I think that, you know, I was able to do that. Maybe not the best at all times, you know, because I learned as I went along. You know, I made mistakes. But my family is such a source of strength for me. And I'm not afraid to say that. If that makes people uncomfortable or people feel that makes you sound weak. But a family to me, my wife and my children are so crucial to my existence. They're the top of the heap before anything else that I do in music or, you know, whatever else. But their love and support of what I do makes what I do that much easier. Do you know what I mean? And they're a source of my inspiration. So that's a key component to me. And maybe you've picked up on that. One of my loves for Christmas is that, you know, I spend a lot of it with my family, baking and watching movies and decorating and just, you know, going to different places and stuff like that. You know, some of the other things, you know, and again, I'm not trying to take up your space, but
no,
I'm actually 35% deaf in one ear.
Really?
I started losing some of my hearing at 16. Not, you know, playing in a small room at 120 decibels with no earplugs. I lost some of my hearing early on. And
I didn't even know that. How about that?
And I've been able to maintain it, though. In the past couple of years, I lost a little bit more on the one side. And that's actually, I can tell you the show and everything, but I'm not going to say it. And unfortunately, I had earplugs in that night, but I grabbed the wrong ones. And I did not realize that until I was already 3 songs in. I said, there's something different. And I felt the pop and all that. And for about several days after the show, I couldn't hear at all on that side. I had, went to the doctor and all that kind of stuff. And he says some of it may come back, and thankfully it did. I was really concerned because I was, because I'm friggin' tone deaf to begin with, and then on top of that, not being able to hear. I do a pretty good job now of, I know I've since I was 16. Once you start losing something, you go into this protection mode. That was just a damn stupid mistake on my part, something that I'm not even sure how I made the mistake of grabbing the wrong earplugs that night. I usually have a ton of them on me, and for some reason I just grabbed the wrong set. So anyway, but that's it. I actually in the 90s had my wrist broken, which affected my guitar playing from that time forward. I struggle with some things because of mechanical deficiency. I'm lucky that I'm even playing like I do. Yeah. So yeah. I accepted a long time ago about the type of playing that I'll be able to achieve, and I'm okay with it. I'm no technical guru. Some of that's my own fault from years before, because I just was more interested in writing songs than, ripping up the fretboard like Malmsteen. So, but then, then I had an injury that caused some issue. But anyway, that's about it. So I hope that takes you a little, big Star Wars geek. But I think we may have picked up on that through the show as well.
Yeah, I could say I didn't know you were deaf in one ear, so that's something I didn't even know.
There you go.
There you go.
All right, my last question from Mr. Natalini, the rock star of the group. What's one thing you think people would be surprised to know about you?
Who?
That you keep a family of robins in your beard.
That I think one thing that I always think that people are always surprised by is I am a huge Bret Michaels fan. I loved Poison when I was a teen, and I continue to love Poison to this day. Bret Michaels is one of my favorites. Now, as I've gotten older and how he's gotten older, I have a few issues with him, doing the, I get it. He is a mogul. He is more than the singer of Poison. I understand he does all these reality shows, and every album he releases, he puts every rose has a thorn on it with another spin. But I am a huge Bret Michaels fan, to the point where I truly believe, and I have photographic proof that he recognizes me because I've seen him so many times.
Yeah.
I am usually the only man up front in a sea of women, which of course I'm pretty easy to spot at that point. And I have been known to, kind of muscle my way up and use my manhood to get up front to see Mr. Michaels. But yes, I am a huge Bret Michaels fan. I just grew up with Poison. I just always, of course, being a singer, I always like singers. David Lee Roth is obviously my number one favorite and inspiration, hands down. When I was a teen growing up, and we were heavy into hair metal or glam metal, however you want to put it, I was a huge Poison fan. There was something about that band that I just connected with, and Bret, I just always connected with Bret. He is just an amazing frontman, a great singer, great songwriter, and he continues to do it to this day. And I love him. I'm just a huge Bret Michaels guy, and I think that's one thing that people always look at me and go, "Really, dude, Bret Michaels." I can't help it, man.
Listen, I've known that for a long time, but I do know people are always they're shocked about what. Wait a minute, don't you sing in a death metal core something? Yeah. So it's hilarious, but I get it. I hear you.
I'll tell you this quick story. So a number of years ago, a number, I mean like 4, maybe 5. So not that long ago, he had put out a solo record, his last one. And my wife and I got tickets to go see him at a casino. I don't know. It was like Bethlehem. It was like somewhere so far away. But the room was only about 250 people. It was a small room. And the stage literally was like ankle level when we got there. Now, we had no idea. So we walked in. I'm like, we can't be in the right room. And man, we were. The stage was small. And it was the first time Eric Brinningham from Cinderella was on tour with him, playing bass. So, of course, I get up front. There's no opening act. It's just him. Of course, I'm up front. I'm standing up front. No one's near me because all the girls are scared. And this will kind of show you how much of a Bret Michaels guy I am. So there's a point in the show where he starts to say, and of course, when people go see Bret Michaels, they want to hear all the Poison songs, of course. There's a point in the show where he grabs his acoustic guitar. He says, all right, so I got a new record out. And I yelled at the top of my lungs because I am a fan. I still buy new music. I don't care who it is. I still buy new records. Mick, I was the only person that cheered for his new record. The only guy in the whole place. And he was like, yeah, man, thank you. And I was just like, oh my God. But like that, I mean, that to me is that shows you how much of a fan I am, because I still buy his music. No matter how many times he puts every rose on every dumb record, I buy that record. It doesn't matter. I buy that record. So yes.
That's
so
awesome.
I would say Bret Michaels. That's usually the one that people get surprised by.
Well, there you go, people. A little Q&A with Chris and Mick. Listen, everyone, thank you for a fabulous season 3. Appreciate you listening. Look forward to season 4. We got some things brewing, so check us out at www.thecosmicvoice.com. Step into the Cosmic Verse. You'll never know what you're going to find. Chris, my good man, thank you so much for another fantastic season. I look forward to doing this again with you in season 4.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thanks so much for listening. This is the Cosmic Voice. Be sure to check us out at thecosmicvoice.com. Like and follow us on Facebook at The Cosmic Voice. You can find The Cosmic Voice everywhere you listen to online podcasts, like Deezer, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, Stitcher, and so many more.
Okay, folks, that will do it for another episode of The Cosmic Voice. Mick and I would like to say thank you very much for tuning in, and we will see you next week.
You're listening to The Cosmic Voice. Music, talk, and nothing but business.